Warner Brothers, to all of you, and I mean all of you, that caused Pepe Le Pew to be removed from this piece of crap thing. Screw every single one of you tragically. Especially you, Warner Brothers. Because you remove Pepe Le Pew for rumors, for thoughts that he promotes assault and rape. You have actual rapist characters in this movie. There are more appearances of the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange. There are more appearances of them in this movie than there are of LeBron dunking baskets. You have Pennywise in this movie. Yes, Pepe Le Pew is bad. So what do? You not only have the character who kills children, but you also have a character from a book that had a little girl get gang banged with a bunch of guys in order to save them. And if that's not enough, Warner Brothers, you have the gall. I should take that back. You have the gall for three things. One, Porky Pig rapping. Don't worry, I will get to that. Two, to have Foghorn Leghorn swear. I don't want anyone to say this is a kid's film. You don't cuss in a kid's film. And Warner Brothers, you include an appearance from a nun from one of the most controversial movies ever made, The Devils. Let me read what Wikipedia says. Pornographic in nature. 2.5-minute sequence featuring naked nuns sexually defiling a statue of Christ. Another scene. Jesus Christ. Wow. God, I can't say this. I should be able to say it. Because Warner Brothers, you're advertising this movie in this movie. You know what? I'm not going to say the second scene that was cut. But what I will say is that you have two characters appear using stock footage of Austin Powers. You know, kids, that wholesome family film that has characters named A Lot of Vagina and Fat Bastard. Warner Brothers, shame on you. I don't know what to say. I can't say anything else. You I'm going to continue to criticize this movie, but that is it for bringing up inappropriate topics in this movie graphically. I will continue to bring up things that I consider very inappropriate in this movie, but for the most part I'm going to try to stay in the PG format, even though, to kind of quote the movie, this beep sucks. I don't have a joke now. So, let's begin the first review of 2023. Here, who had no involvement in what I said, and told me not to say any of the following. So put all your blame, anger, and hate just to me. Please welcome the person who did not want to see this movie. But I made it the first movie of the year. So that way, maybe the rest of the year could be a little bit better. I'm not sure if that will be the case, but I'm optimistic about these things. Please welcome the person who probably enjoyed this way more than me. Kay. Kay, can you please come here so we can discuss the movie now? Please, Kay.
It should be entirely different.
Let's get to talking about this. I can't even call it a movie. I can't even call it a Super Bowl commercial, because Super Bowl commercials are at least... Here, you could take a step forward.
I'm not going to be here if you're using that language.
What? I said...
Your descriptions and everything. No,
I said that was it. That was it. I'm done.
You said you're going to still criticize it.
Yes, but I'm not going to use inappropriate language. I've already got it out of my system. I've seen Super Bowl commercials that are funnier than this movie. I can honestly say, regarding this hour and 48-minute advertisement for HBO Max, I didn't laugh once. In fact, there were parts of this movie that physically hurt me. First of all, the movie makes absolutely no sense just from the beginning.
It kind of does. His son was not interested in basketball, and LeBron was treating him like LeBron was brought up, that basketball was going to save his life. And so his son creates a game.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The first thing that I'm talking about that is extremely dumb is we're using the video games are bad cliche, people. If you're going to do that, why not also mention how D&D is going to drag your kids into cults? Because it's just as realistic and just as accurate. First of all, anti-video games? Really? How many video games have LeBron and Looney Tunes done over the years? That's very hypocritical. Warner Brothers, how many video games have you made out of your properties, including one of the worst video game movie adaptations, The Matrix? It was either Matrix Reloaded or Matrix Revolutions. Also, LeBron playing that game, playing the video game, had nothing to do with his performance playing basketball. You might as well have criticized how he plucked his eyebrows, because that affected his game as much as playing a video game. Then, let's get to the credits, which not only feature future style moves, but also have him animated. Why? I have no dang clue. And the song that does it is No, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I would argue, there is no good original music in this movie.
Okay, fine.
Also, Now let's get to your
Oh,
now let's get to your part. LeBron wants his sons to play basketball.
one son.
No, both of them.
The other one wasn't a son.
No, it was his son.
Oh,
You couldn't tell?
I didn't know he had two sons in the thing.
Yeah, that's why they were playing together on his property.
I thought he was just a friend or something.
Nope.
Whatever. Go on. I don't think you really need me here.
Yes, I do, because
No, you don't.
I need you to explain why this movie is so good. Why you
didn't
think this
think it was
movie is
that-
better than I think.
Justin?
Anyway,
Whoops. Sorry.
I don't care.
Oh
Anyway.
my God.
Anyway,
Just tell them you didn't like the movie. It wasn't a
Please
good
let me
one.
speak.
Michael Jordan
please let me
was
speak.
a lot better.
Please let me speak. Please let me speak. The kid clearly does not want to play basketball. LeBron, when he was a kid, played basketball. LeBron is forcing this kid to play
told you.
basketball. And
I told you why.
it's kind of stupid when his older son is much better at basketball and actually likes to play basketball. Now let's go to Mr. Algorithm, who...
Algorithm.
Yes, I know. I got the joke.
Mm.
Did you get the joke when he said, King Kong ain't got nothing on me? Did you get that reference?
Yes, Justin.
Yeah, it's that kid's film, Training Day.
Don't have to keep yelling.
Well, it's an R-rated film because that's for the adults.
That's with Denzel Washington.
Yeah, that's the one with the, that's... I can't say it. So we meet Mr. Algorithm, played by Don Cheadle, who, despite having a stupid idea... Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, people. A ripped-off idea. Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, you ripped off 30 Rock. You ripped off Seinfeld Vision. You owe Tina Fey a check, you owe Lorne Michaels a check, you owe NBC a check, and you owe Jerry Seinfeld a check. You owe all of them a check for ripping off their idea. And you know what? Seinfeld Vision was funnier. Okay? So basically, Algorithm plan is to rip off Seinfeld Vision and digitally insert LeBron into, kid-friendly properties like Game of Thrones, Batman, essentially making him Mr. Freeze, and Harry Potter. The franchise that's not even going anymore. And Game of Thrones, which ended before the movie came out.
Well, you never know.
Well, that's true. There's House of Dragon, I think. Or House of the Dragon. I'm not going to watch it, people. I don't have HBO Max. I'm not that rich. So anyway, then LeBron sees this huge game that this kid has created. This kid is like the Bill Gates of video games. He made a video game in his house using like 3 computers, and that's it. I can't even make a good video quality episode on 1 laptop, and this kid can make a video game on 3 computers?
I thought it was 2. Or maybe it was 3 screens, 1 computer.
Maybe it was 2 computers and like 1 TV screen or something. So, LeBron ends up playing, but because this video game is stupid, in my opinion, because it focuses on style over substance. Style over substance. Reminds me of a movie I just saw. Anyway, except this didn't have style either. So LeBron gets invested in the game, but when there's one glitch, it causes the entire program to shut down. So that's when LeBron basically says to his kid, like, this is junk, it's terrible.
He did not say that.
What did he say?
He said this is a moment when you have to push through and try harder to keep it going. Believe in yourself. That's what I got out of it. He didn't knock him down.
He was like saying, hey, you need to focus more on basketball instead of this game, didn't he?
No.
I think he did. Then we're introduced to the pitch meeting, and hey, there's a poster for your favorite movie, Scoob. I've said my thoughts on that film, and don't worry, if I ever run into you, I'll probably repeat them. Anyway, so they're saying like how digitally inserting him into stuff will make him more will make HBO Max more popular.
He doesn't have to take time away from the game. They can just use his digital image and put him up against other things.
They'll just digitally insert him in everything Warner Brothers owns.
I didn't know they owned Batman.
Yeah, DC.
Oh, got it. Okay. Whatever.
Do you know how messed up Warner Brothers would be right now if they lost the rights to Batman?
I don't know.
And you'd better have known that they owned Batman, because there's going to be a pop quiz, Hotshot, where you're going to find out exactly what Warner Brothers owns. Because they're going to jam it down your throat for a half an hour.
Okay, are you about ready to wrap this up? Because I'm
not
ready.
Even halfway in.
Then I think I need to step away.
No.
Yes. You're not really asking my opinion. And,
okay.
My opinion, I don't think it's as good as the first one. There were a couple moments. Yeah, HBO used everything to the max. HBO Max, get it? And made it as an advertisement, like you said. Yes, you kept pointing out characters from other shows and stuff like that. I fell asleep a couple times in this movie. I thought it was very boring in the beginning part.
So the first hour,
I can't help it. I didn't enjoy it. If you want to follow the series and don't watch the first one before you watch this.
Don't watch this. Watch the first one.
No, if you watch this, then watch the first one and forget this one.
Or just not watch this one.
But in my opinion, you do what you want.
Okay.
So I'm out.
Hold on. I want you to tell me what you liked about this movie.
I'm not saying. I didn't say I liked it.
Say the things that... Okay, fine.
When he finally connected with his son at the end, when the family connected, when the son talked about the glitch, what they had to do, and LeBron wanted to volunteer to do the glitch, and then Bugs had his own idea, and, yeah. And then how he was taking his son to basketball camp, but actually it was going to a coder camp.
E3 camp.
Yeah, it was for games and coding and stuff.
Can I tell you why I hated that ending?
Sure, and then I'm out. Okay, guys?
And then I'll say my opinions on the rest of the movie.
I'll be going to bed shortly.
Can we please?
Yes, hurry it up. I mean, you can rant and rave all you want, but I don't need to be here. No, just do it now. We'll get it done.
Here's why I hated that ending. Bugs sacrifices himself Evaporates.
No, not for a while. Not right away.
Eventually apparates. I'm trying to get this through fast for you. You know, like Man of Steel. Or no, like Batman v Superman. You know, everyone's favorite movie. Essentially, he looks like Jesus Christ in particle form. And for about 5 minutes, Warner Brothers is just pulling on your heartstrings, saying like, Bugs Bunny is dead. Bugs Bunny is erased. Bugs
deleted.
Bunny is
deleted.
Dead. Because he said, that's all, folks.
Yep.
Warner Brothers, I now know for a fact you don't watch this channel. Because if there was one thing I really hated about Scoob...
Oh my god. I need to walk away.
It was how Shaggy sacrificed himself to save Scooby. Just so 30 seconds later, he was revealed to be totally fine, and that waste of time meant absolutely nothing. Thank you, Warner Brothers. You took one of the things I hated about Scoob, and you did it again. For the rest of the time, I'm going to speak. Kay needs her beauty rest.
It's not my opinion, folks, okay?
I said it wasn't your opinion.
Take care. Happy New Year.
It's past January. It's in January right now.
No, but it's Happy New Year.
Okay, so basically I'm going... Can I be explicit about the references?
Whatever you're doing, it just does not involve my opinion or me.
Okay. Warner Brothers, you actually screwed up at making this guy a bad guy, a bad villain, because I was actually on his side for a good chunk of it. The part where he realizes that his son he realizes that that kid doesn't want to play basketball and instead wants to create video games. Yeah. That's kind of what a father should do. It's not like he's like, oh, I want to sell drawings of a half man, half zebra, or a cat that can see only through wooden doors. It's something that might actually be successful and happen. And if you get that reference, God bless your soul. So anyway, Bugs Bunny, or LeBron ends up in Toon World, and he meets Bugs Bunny doing the big Chungus gag. Oh, what's the matter, Warner Brothers? You don't want to do the 4chan gag of Bugs Bunny in blackface? Come on, if we're referencing internet culture, let's reference that meme, please. LeBron talks about what happened and his son, and then Bugs talks about why the Looney Tunes aren't in Toon World, which Warner Brothers, I might have liked this movie a little bit more if all the tunes were in Toon World. Warner Brothers, what did you... Writers, I know none of you wrote the first Space Jam movie. But did you even watch it? Did you think that the thing that people hated about Space Jam was there weren't enough movie references? Did people complain that there were too many Looney Tunes characters? Did people complain that it made too much sense. Because, really think about it. Algae Rhythm trying to get LeBron into the Serververse 3000 to be successful. Doesn't that sound a little bit like the aliens trying to get the Looney Tunes to Moron Mountain so that place can be more successful? You've remade it. You've remade the movie. Except now, you've made it longer. You've made it more confusing. You've made it move much slower because you're forcing so many references which do nothing but just slow the film down. Why is there a Matrix reference? Why is there a Mad Max reference? Oh, hey, let's have Daffy Duck be Superman. You know, like Superior Duck, one of the worst Daffy Duck cartoons. Let's reference Casablanca. Why? Who knows? And we have to put Yosemite Sam in it because if we put in Pepe Le Pew, people might think this movie is bad. Let's reference Game of Thrones. You know, that show with decapitations, killing, murder, and incest. Hey, it's a family film. Isn't that the excuse? This is just for families, right? Austin Powers, PG-13 movie. Matrix, PG-13 movies. Mad Max, isn't that an R-rated movie? Rick and Morty. I haven't even seen that show, but if I were to guess, that's probably not as wholesome as, say, the Powerpuff Girls. I'm trying to think, what are some other ones? And Lola Bunny. Lola Bunny seems to me to be the only character that is like her character from the first movie. She's the only one that is almost identical to her character. 'Cause what was her character? She was a new character that came in. She was the only one that was skilled at basketball. She was the only one that could actually dunk. No one else, everyone else had heard of basketball, but they had not seen basketball. They had heard of basketball, but they had not played basketball. And again, what's the premise in this movie? Everyone, nobody knows how to play basketball, except for Lola Bunny. I'm sorry, there's a glitch. So, there's an MC Hammer reference. You know, something that would have been dated in 1996. That song came out in 1990. Over 20 years after this movie came out. Oh, what's the matter, Warner Brothers? Couldn't find a spot for Too Legit to Quit or Achy Breaky Heart? God dang. I'm not gonna talk about like Sarah Silverman, LeBron's acting, the kids acting, or anything like that. I'm not gonna mention any of them because guess what? They range from acceptable to mediocre. There, that's the end. The really bad actors are the other basketball players. The basketball players in the original Space Jam were better actors getting hit in the head. Saying like maybe it's just in our head. Acting all wobbly because they lost their talent. All of that. Uh, Charles Barkley saying he'll stop eating at McDonald's. But there's one thing I do want to criticize LeBron's acting on. Falling. When he falls into Toon World, it is the most... It's like the director just said, man, do whatever you want in front of a green screen. We'll CGI this junk in later. Lil Rel Howard, I've never been a fan of him. This movie keeps that tradition. Here's something, Warner Brothers. When I'm more distracted by the background characters than the Looney Tunes characters in a Looney Tunes movie, you failed. You failed. Because you just made your main characters uninteresting. I would argue LeBron's acting is probably worse than Michael Jordan's. I'm not a huge LeBron fan. I was never a huge Jordan. I was never a huge Jordan fan. I don't watch sports. I'm sorry, okay? There's even a point where they say LeBron is the best athlete ever. I'm like, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, Dwayne Johnson. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot more Derek Jeter. For probably about the first half of this movie, Lola does more, I would argue gets more baskets in than LeBron. Which goes to show you look, I'm all for girl power and everything, but you know what? In the first one, everyone else also made baskets. Jordan made baskets. And that one was labeled as sexist. Oh, by the way, if any of you have this thought that Lola Bunny was inappropriate, Hello Nurse, Jessica Rabbit, Minerva Mink, Miss Bellum from the Powerpuff Girls. There, that's all I have to say about those. Oh, and Red from the Tex Avery cartoons. And don't you dare any of you try to ban those. Ban Uncle Tom's Cabinet. That one's terrible. And then, when there's halftime, in the first one, Michael Jordan tried to raise their spirits and tried to make them positive. They were like, I didn't get my butt dragged here to get, I didn't get dragged down here to get my butt kicked by some aliens. And another thing, do you remember at the beginning where they were all getting dressed up and Tweety says, those monsters wish they'd never been born. And then Michael Jordan says, guys, let's just have some fun. Yeah, I hope you hated both of those. Because guess what? LeBron doesn't tell them to have fun. They all act like him. And that's according to the movie and Lola Bunny. So now these characters aren't being the characters, with the exception of Lola, I guess. They're just being caricatures of LeBron. And the big speech, the motivation, it's not given by LeBron. It's given by Lola. Lola cares more about LeBron's kids' safety and the Looney Tunes safety than LeBron or the Looney Tunes. And yes, that Michael A. Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, that joke takes like 30 freaking seconds. Then there's a bunch of style points which, I don't know, it makes the game very confusing personally. It makes it feel like tennis. I'm sorry, people. I can't hold this back. The Porky Pig rap. Feature. Oh, I'm sorry. The Notorious P.I.G. rap. You know, Notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls. Biggie. You know, the drug-dealing rapper who sold drugs to pregnant women. Warner Brothers, is that who you want to advertise in this movie? You're advertising murderers, rapists, drug dealers, and incest. But Pepe Le Pew was over the line for you. Bite me. That rap. It might have only been like a minute, minute and a half, but it honestly felt like it was like 3-4 minutes. I curled up. I have never done that in a movie when I haven't been tired. I curled up and looked. I had to look away. I don't know if there's been a movie that I've reviewed where I had to look away. I think the most recent time I had to look away was Human Centipede 2. Yeah. this movie reuses 2 bits of animation from the original Space Jam. And, oh, don't worry, people. You see this blatant false advertisement? You see how they're all drawn, like Looney Tunes? This is what you see. They turn them into Funko Pops. They make them CGI. Who are you trying to appeal to? That's not how they're drawn in New Looney Tunes. That's not how they're drawn on the Looney Tunes show. That's not how they're drawn in Looney Tunes cartoons. That's not how they've been drawn from 1930 to 1969. That's not how they were drawn in the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. That's not how they were drawn in Tasmania. That's not how they were drawn in the original movie. That's not how they were drawn in Back in Action. Warner Brothers, I will give you just 2 positives. And they're almost pathetic positives because they are literally the bare minimum you could do. 1, you had an actual comedian, Gabriel Iglesias, voicing Speedy Gonzales instead of a hack comic like Fred Armisen. Yeah, Portlandia fans, comment below why he's so funny. I dare you. He isn't. And yeah, I criticized Scoob for replacing Matthew Lillard with Will Forte. But I thought Zendaya did fine. I don't hate her. I don't know why people hate her. I don't. Oh, but Justin, didn't you want her to be like Lola Bunny? No. I don't want Kristen Wiig in anything. I have yet to see her in any movie where she either isn't an ad-libbing idiot or a pointless character. I don't give a darn. Well, what about Sausage Party? Salma Hayek's character was more interesting. Isn't that a shame that out of every single one of Seth Rogen's movies and every single one of his connections, he could only find one woman? I guess everyone else turned down the script. Lil Rel and his buddy are there to explain jokes that your person in a coma would have understood. Here's one. Knock, knock. Who's there? Ach, achoo. Bless you. Did you see? He did a joke and it was about sneezing. Funny. Yes, we got it. Then finally, at the moment when LeBron and his son make amends, we're over an hour and a half in. The first movie is over at this point. And it's not even done yet. And then there's the step back where Bug sacrifices himself ripping off Batman v Superman, and ripping off Scoob, and ripping off To Boldly Flee. And then, yeah, surprise. He can now play at E3. And guess what? Bugs is alive. So that, like, 10 minutes of dragging something fake out, is it worth it? Is your time worthy of a 10-minute waste of time? Because it isn't for me. I expect better, Warner Brothers. I expect better. I don't expect swearing from Looney Tunes characters. I know what you're saying. What about Porky's Breakdown? That was never intended to be released to the general public. This was. That's the difference. You reference Rick and Morty. You reference Game of Thrones. You're referencing Harry Potter. Why are you referencing things that aren't going on anymore? If that's the case, why didn't you reference Friends? Huh? Why didn't you reference Mad TV? Why didn't you reference... Let me see, what else? Why didn't you reference Two Broke Girls? Come on, that's Warner Brothers. Why didn't you reference The Big Bang Theory? That's Warner Brothers. Oh, Warner Brothers, you heartless, soulless insult. This movie was in development since 2011. Over 8 years, and the best we can get are cameos and a rehash of the first movie. Really. Really, really, really. Say what you will about Michael Jordan's business and his endorsements and whatnot, but he said no to this probably for a reason. Warner Brothers. Not only did you reference Ruth Bader Ginsburg in Scoob the year she died, but you have the gall to reference Ray Charles and Steve Jobs. You have Don Cheadle dress up as Steve Jobs. And all of you people out there who hate this character named Scrappy Doo, can you please tell me how this blue, I don't know, it looked like a Pac-Man with, it looked like a Pac-Man with strings attached, is a better character? Because this character is literally nothing but a minion. Right down to being cute and cuddly, big eyes, and Warner Brothers, do you need to create future toys in your commercial? For everyone who says Space Jam was nothing but a big commercial for stuff, was nothing but product placement, you know what? I can at least tell you the story. Aliens go through the center of the earth to get the Looney Tunes. Or Bugs tricks them. The monsters get more powerful, or the aliens get more powerful, turning them into the Monstars, aka the Mean Team. The Looney Tunes get Michael Jordan to help them so they don't end up as slaves. Michael plays and they win. I told you that entire movie without referencing a single thing besides Michael Jordan, aliens, and Looney Tunes. You can't talk about this movie without mentioning other Warner Brothers properties, because that is literally how this movie becomes. They go into the serververse. You can't talk about this movie without talking about product placement. You can't. Warner Brothers? I don't know what to say. I know there's a Tom and Jerry movie. I'll probably review that one day. And I know that there's an upcoming Space Jam movie with Dwayne Johnson that involves wrestling. Not sure how that's going to work. And there's a movie coming up, maybe, called Coyote vs. Acme, which has Will Forte. I hope that Space Jam 3 and Coyote vs. Acme are good movies. But between how you've handled your DC universe, how you handled Hanna-Barbera characters with Scoob, and this movie, I'm not sure I believe it. I'm not sure I can be optimistic enough to think that you guys will even think about some criticism. It's possible. It is possible. You guys have done it before. When Godzilla came out, it faced a lot of criticisms. So Kong Skull Island tried to fix a lot of those issues. I want to hope who's ever in charge of your future properties, Coyote vs. Acme and Space Jam 3, I hope they will really try to deal with some of the criticisms. Because Warner Brothers, you failed at DC, Hanna-Barbera, and Looney Tunes. What do you have left? That's all I have to say. I wanted to do this thing where I would show you how this isn't just a random person. I have all 3 Looney Tunes Platinum collections. 2 of them cost me well over $100 each because I purchased them when they were out of print. I have Chuck Jones Mouse Chronicles. I'm looking over there. I have the Bugs Bunny 80th Anniversary 3-disc Blu-ray collection. I have the Private Snafu collection from Thunderbean Animation. I have all 3. There might be a 4th by the time this comes out. I would love to hear that. But so far, I have all 3 Tex Avery Screwball Classics. I have all 6 Looney Tunes Golden collections. I have, of the Looney Tunes Superstars, I have every single one except for the Bugs Bunny compilation, the second Bugs Bunny compilation one, Bugs Bunny Wascally Wabbit, and Sylvester and Tweety Feline Frenzy, because because those include other cartoons from the Golden Collection. I have Porky Pig 101. And I have the Stars of Space Jam DVD. And I have another film that, as of this recording, right now is on its way here, called Looney Tunes Missing in Action, containing about 12 or 13 cartoons from Thunderbean on Blu-ray from Thunderbean Animation. I don't know if I'm more upset than I was in the first one, or than I was in Scoob. But this is severely disappointing. How can you screw up this bad? The end. Oh. I need to do a tease for the next one. Join us next time when we take a look at one of Kay's selections. As the shoe falls. Bye.